We continue now at the top of Daf Mem Daled Amud Aleph in Meseches Sanhedrin. This is Sanhedrin Daf 44a. On the previous summit, the Gemara said that according to Reb Nechemia, the Jewish people are not punished for sins that are done by private individuals that are done in secret. And the Gemara says, if that's the case, Achan my time iyanish. So by Achan, why was Bnei Yisrael punished? Rashi explains, Achan my time iyanish Yisrael aleh. Why was Klal Yisrael punished for what Achan did in the times of Yoshua? Halo min hanistarosi. That's something that was hidden. So why should they be punished according to Reb Nechemia? And the Gemara answers to that, Mishum to have a yadi bei ishto uvan. If it wasn't really secret, his wife and his children knew about what he did. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk says in Sefer Yoshua Chata Yisrael that Klal Yisrael has sinned. Again, that was by the defeat that they had at the city of Ai. And the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Abba bar Zavda, Rabbi Abba bar Zavda says, Afal Pishachata, even though they sinned, Yisrael, who they're still called Klal Yisrael, that's what we learn from that pasuk. Amar Rabbi Abba says, Hainu Damri Inchi, that's what people say. Asa Dekoi Beinei Chilfi, if you have a myrtle that's among the thorns, Asa Shemei, still it is named a myrtle, the Asa Karule, and still people refer to it as a myrtle. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk continues in Sefer Yoshua, V'gam Avru es Brisi Asher Tzivisi Osam, Gam Lokhu Min Acherim, Gam Gonvu, Gam Kichashu, Gam Sama Bechleim, they transgressed my covenant, and they took from the Chayrim, and they stole. Amar Rabbi Law, Mishum Rabbi Yehuda bar Masparta, Rabbi Law says in the name of Rabbi Yehuda bar Masparta, Melamed, this pasuk teaches, Sha'avar Achan al Chamisha Chumshei Torah, that Achan transgressed the Chamisha Chumshei Torah, the 5 books of the Torah. Shenamar, as it says in this pasuk, Chamisha Gam, it says the word Gam 5 times to indicate that he was over on the Chamisha Chumshei Torah. And the Gemara continues, V'am Rabbi Law Mishum Rabbi Yehuda bar Masparta, and Rabbi Law says in the name of Rabbi Yehuda bar Masparta, Achan Moshech bar Lasso Haya, Achan, he drew forth his foreskin to cover up his bris milah. Ksevacha, because again it's written over here in the pasuk above, V'gam Avru es Brisi, it says they were over on the bris, so Ksev Hasam, and it's written over there as Brisi Hefar, it says that they violated my bris. And the Gemara says, Pshita, well, isn't that obvious? We just said that he violated all of Chamisha Chumshei Torah, so of course bris milah as well. The Gemara says, Ma'od detema, what might you have said, b'mitzvah gufe lo pakar, when it came to a mitzvah of his body, maybe that, he didn't throw that off of himself, maybe that he didn't violate, Kamash Malon, that's what it's teaching us, even a mitzvah of his body, he neglected that as well. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk says in Sefer Yehoshua, v'chiyasa nevala b'Yisrael, he did a shameful thing in Klal Yisrael. Amar Rabbi Abba bar Zavda, Rabbi Abba bar Zavda says, Melamed shabal achan nara hamorasa. We see from here, it teaches us that Achan had relations with a young girl who was betrothed, Ksivhacha, because it's written over here, V'chiyasa nevala, it uses the word nevala, Ksivhasam, and it's written over there, Kiyasta nevala b'Yisrael, by the Nara Moras. It also says she did a shameful thing in Klal Yisrael. And the Gemara says, Pshita, again, that's obvious. We said he violated the Chamisha Chumshei Torah. The Gemara says, Ma'od detema, what might you have said? Kulei hailo pakar nafshe, he didn't go that far in terms of throwing off the yoke of Torah, Kamash Malon. It's coming to teach us that he even did this. And the Gemara continues, Ravina says, Dine, that his verdict, the verdict against him, Kenara HaMorasa, was like a Nara HaMorasa, Diviskila, because he was condemned, but with Skila, with stoning. And the Gemara continues, Amar le Reish Galusa le Rav Huna, the Reish Galusa, the head of the exile, said to Rav Huna, Ksiv, it's written in the pasuk again by Achan, Vayikach Yoshua es Achan ben Zerach, ves HaKesef, ves Haderes, ves Lashon Hazav, ves Bona, ves Benosav, ves Shoro, ves Chamoro, ves Sono, ves Oholo, ves Kol Asher Lo. Yehoshua took Achan, and he took all of his property and his children. And so he asked the following question, the Reish Galusa asked Rav Huna, Hu Chata, if Achan sinned, Bonov uvenosav ma Chatu, what did his sons, what did his daughters do? Why were they being punished? What sin did they commit? Amar Lei said to him, but according to your reasoning, Imhu Chata, if he sinned, Kol Yisrael Machatu, what sin did all of Klal Yisrael do? Because it's also written in that pasuk, V'chol Yisrael Imo, he brought all of Klal Yisrael. You think he gave that punishment to all of Klal Yisrael? El Redos, and rather this was a way of chastising them. The punishment wasn't for all of Klal Yisrael. They were supposed to see what happened to Achan. Hachanami, so the same thing is true over here. Kadei Radosan, it was in order to chastise them. That's why he brought along the children. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk says, Vayisrafu osam bo'esh, it says he burned them in fire. Vayiskalu osam ba'avanim, and then it says he stoned them with stones. And the Gemara asks, Batarti, so both of these things were done. Amar Ravina says, Haroi l'sreifa, those items which were fit to be burned, l'sreifa, those would be burned, for example, something like clothing. Haroi l'skila, and those things which were fit to be stoned, for example, the animals, l'skila, those were going to be stoned. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk says, Vayra b'shalal aderes shinor achas tova, there was an aderes shinor that was good, umasayim shkolim kesef, and there was 200 silver shkolim. And what is this aderes shinor? Rav Amar Rav says, itztala demilsa, it is a cloak that's made of fine wool. Ushmuel Amar, and Shmuel says, sarbala detzrifa, it is a garment that is dyed with alum. And Rashi explains, liradosan, again it was to chastise them, sheyiru es kalkulo, they should see his downfall, v'yizharu b'atzman, that way they'll be careful about themselves, v'lo yosifu limol b'cheirim, and they won't misuse the cheirim in the future. Haroi l'sreifa, those things that are fit to be burned, kesev, izav, u'begadim, silver, gold, clothing, and haroi l'skila, those things that are fit to be stoned, who, that refers to Achan himself, shoru, v'hemosav, and his ox, and his animals, u'knas haya lirdos es v'acheirim, and again, all of this was in order to chastise the others, and itzlo demilsa talis shel tzemer naki, again, it means it's a cloak of fine wool, and sarvala ditzrifa, tzavua b'tzarif, shakarn alum, it was a garment that was dyed with tzarif, which is called alum. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk says, Bayachan and Sefer Yoshua, Vayatzikum lefnei Hashem, he laid them out, referring to the spoils before Hashem. Amar Rav Nachman says, Bavachavtam lefnei hamakom, he came and he laid this out before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and Amar lefanav Ribbono shel olam, he said before him, Master of the world, Al Elu, because of this, Tehare Guruba shel Sanhedrin, the majority of the Sanhedrin had to be killed. Tichsiv, because it's written, Vayakum mehem anshe Ai keshloshim v'shisha ish, it says the people of Ai, they killed like 36 men. V'tanya, we learned in a brayso, shloshim v'shisha mamish, divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says, it really means they killed 36 men. Amar lo Rav Nechemya said to him, v'chi shloshim v'shisha hayu, was it actually 36 people? V'alo lo nemar ela kishloshim v'shisha ish, it means that it was like 36 men. Ela, rather, what it means is, they Yor ben Menashe, it means they killed Yor ben Menashe, shashakol keneged ruba shel Sanhedrin, that he was the equivalent of the majority of the Sanhedrin. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Nachman Amar Rav. Rav Nachman says that Rav says, Ma'idach what does it mean when it's written in the pasuk? This is a pasuk in Mishlei, Tachanunim Yadav Erosh. It says the poor person, he speaks in a pleading manner, V'asher Yana Azus. However, the wealthy person, he speaks with Azus, he speaks with brazenness. And the Gemara explains, Tachanunim Yadav Erosh, the poor person speaks with Tachanunim, Zem Moshe, that refers to Moshe Rabbeinu. V'asher Yana Azus, and the wealthy person, he speaks with Azus, Ze Yoshua, that refers to Yoshua. And the Gemara says, my time, and what is the reason for this? Where do we see this by Moshe? Where do we see this by Yehoshua? Ilema mishum dechsiv, if you're going to say it's because of what is written, what we quoted above, Vayatzikum lefnei Hashem, it says that Yehoshua laid it out before Hashem. V'yomer Rav Nachman, and Rav Nachman said above, Bavachavton lefnei hamakom, that he cast it down before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he made that argument that he made above. But Atu Pinchas lo avid hachi, didn't Pinchas do the exact same thing? It says, Vayamod Pinchas vayapalal v'tayotzar hamagefa, it says that Pinchas got up, and he prayed, and the magefa, the plague, stopped. V'yomer Rebbe Elazar says, Vayispalal lo nemer, it doesn't say Vayispalal that he prayed, Ela Vayapalal, what it really says is Vayapalal, what does that mean? Melamid sh'asa plilus imkono, it means that he made arguments and judgments against his creator. Bavachavtan lefnei hamakom, this was talking about by Cosby and Zimri, he cast them before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Amar lefadav, and he said before him, Ribbono shel olam, Master of the world, Al elu yiplu esrim v'arba elef mi Yisrael, because of these people, 24,000 Jews, they should fall. T'chsiv, as it's written in the pasuk, Vayu hamesim b'magefa arba v'yesrim elef, it says that the amount that died in the plague was 24,000, and so the point is Pinchas did the exact same thing. And so the Gemara continues, V'ela mehacha, rather it's from here, from the following pasuk, when Yehoshua says, Lama havarta havir es am hazeh es hayarden, why did you bring this people across the Yarden? You see again that Yehoshua spoke in this harsh fashion, but the Gemara says, Moshe nami, meimar amar, that's exactly what Moshe said. He said, Lama harayoso lama hazeh, very similar expression, when he said, Lama harayoso lama hazeh, why do you do bad with this nation? Ela mehacha, rather from here, it's from the following, the pasuk says, V'lu ho'alnu v'neishev be'ever hayarden, that Yehoshua says it would have been better had we stayed on the other side of the Yarden. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk says in Sefer Yehoshua, Vayomer Hashem al Yehoshua kum lach, Hashem said to Yehoshua, you should get up. Dorish of Sheila darshans this pasuk as follows, Amar le HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, Shalcha kasha mishalahem, what you did is more difficult from them. Ani amarti, because I said, V'haya ba'avrachem es hayarden takimu, that I said when you cross the Yarden you have to put up the stones. V'atem richaktem samech mil, you're already 60 mil from crossing the Yarden, and you still haven't done that. Basar denafik, after Rav Sheila left, Ukim Rav Amora Eleh, Rav set up an Amora, someone who would disseminate his teaching. V'darash, and Rav darshaned as follows, Kasher tziva Hashem es Moshe avdo ken tziva Moshe es Yehoshua, v'chein asa Yehoshua lo heser davar mikol asher tziva Hashem es Moshe. It said what Hashem told Moshe, Moshe told Yehoshua, and Yehoshua did exactly that. And so therefore it sounds like, of course, Yehoshua listened to the command and would have set up the stones right away. Im kain matam lomar kum loch. If so, why does it say kum loch? Why does it say get up? What the real meaning of the pasuk is as follows: Amar le ata garamta lehem. What he said to Yehoshua is, you're the one that caused this tragedy. V'hainu dekamar le be'ai, and that's why he said to him in Ai, v'yasisa la'ai u'lamalka kasher asisa li'yericho u'lamalka, you'll do to Ai just like you did to Yericho. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Yehoshua that when it comes to Ai, you should not declare that all of the spoils of war are chayrim, rather Klal Yisrael should be able to take from those spoils. And Rashi explains, kum loch, again get up, and mishal chom yodch, it's because of you, Haisazoslem, that this happened to them. Sha'af b'shvilcha nenshu, again Rav Shela darshan, it was even because of you that there was a punishment, shelo kiyamtes devorai, you didn't fulfill my words, because richaktem shisha mil, because you're already 60 mil from crossing the Yarden, har grizim v'harevel, rechokem shisha mil min ha-Yarden, har grizim and harevel are 60 mil from the Yarden, v'mesachesota, v'sham hekimu es havanim, and it was there that they set up the stones. And Rashi continues that Rav responded to this drasha, Kain asa Yehoshua, that really Yehoshua did exactly what he was supposed to. Mikra kasav Kain, that's a pasuk, v'lo yafa daresh Rav Shila, she Yehoshua shin. It's not true, Rabbi Shela says, that Yehoshua did differently than he was instructed. Rather, it was atag garamta lehem shelo haya lacha lesor aleim bizas Yericho. The real mistake that Yehoshua made was he forbid them from taking the spoils of Yericho, which caused the entire episode. V'hainu dekamar lubai, and that's why Kadosh Baruch Hu said by I, rak shlalu v'hemta tavozu shelo tachrimim, oh, that you are allowed to take the spoils over there. In that case, you should not declare that the spoils are chayrim. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk says in Sefer Yehoshua, Vayibios Yehoshua b'Yericho vayisa ina vayar, when Yehoshua was in Yericho, he lifted his eyes and he saw a man, Vayomer, and the man said, Lo ki ani sar tzva Hashem atabasi, I'm a sar tzva Hashem, I'm an officer of Hashem, an angel of God, now I have come. Vayibol Yehoshua el panav artza vayishtacha, and Yehoshua bowed. And the Gemara says, Hey Chiyav and Hachi, how could Yehoshua have done that? Vam Reb Yochanan, didn't Reb Yochanan say, Asr lo la'adam shiten shalom l'chaver b'layla, it's forbidden for a person to give greetings to his friend at night. Chayshinon shema sheidu, because we're concerned maybe the person is a demon. But the Gemara continues, no, Shani Hasam was different over there. Dekamar lei, because the person said to him, Ani sar tzva Hashem atabasi, that I'm a sar tzva Hashem. And so Yeshua knew that he was not a demon. But the Gemara says, V'dilma meshakri, but maybe this person was lying. Maybe he really wasn't a sar tzva Hashem. Maybe he really was a shade. And the Gemara says, Gemiri, there's a tradition, the lo mafki shem shamayim levatola, that a shade would not say the name of heaven for no reason, and therefore Yehoshua knew that this was not a shade. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Mem Dalid Amud Beis.